The Astros cap off a West Coast road trip by going 3-3 over 6 games. That's not too bad, if I'm being honest. Realistically, we should have got, best case scenario, we really should have finished 5-1 because, finishing 3-3 for a West Coast, for a road trip or even just over a stretch of 6 games in general, that's just not going to cut it. So, we've got a couple of positives, but overall, this was a very tough series for the Astros against the San Francisco Giants, dropping 2 out of 3 games. We're going to recap the series coming up next. Over and over and over. Every time we have a positive result of some kind, we just can't follow it up with another one. The Astros have only won, I think only back-to-back games. I think only 3 times over the past 4 weeks. That's just not going to cut it. I'm sorry. But, if we're going to be getting back into the conversation of getting into the playoffs, or even just winning this division, we're over 8 games out of first place and at least a good 3 games or so, if not 2 games out of second place. Second place is within reach, but the way that this division is going to be shaping up, it's going to seem like it's either you win the division to make the playoffs or nothing. But this week seemed like it was not much different, with the Astros unable to continue their momentum that they had achieved out in Anaheim to get a series victory out in San Francisco. They should have gotten a series victory in this series, but they really didn't. And the first loss in particular in this series is what really stings, because otherwise we'd be walking out here happy with a series win rather than a series loss. But yeah, let's break down the series. But real quick, before we do that, let's dive into a couple of injury updates. Kyle Tucker, who has been on the IL since last Friday with a shin contusion. You guys probably may recall that he failed a pitch off of his shin on a Monday night game against the St. Louis Cardinals in Houston. But unfortunately, the seriousness of the injury was more serious than the Astros had first thought. And so, unfortunately, he hit the IL, and Joey Loperfido ended up coming back up from Sugar Land to take his spot on the roster. Although, unfortunately, Tuesday rather, he had to get sent down because Yonier Diaz, meanwhile, is also dealing with some inflammation on his non-throwing hand, on his throwing arm. That in Anaheim, what had happened was that the Angels batter had fouled a pitch from Justin Verlander off of his hand that did not have his glove on. It was the hand that's above his right knee. As of when I'm recording this video, Espada says he doesn't quite have his range of motion yet. He did not actually start any of the 3 games the Astros played against the Giants in San Francisco this week. And instead, Caratini had taken the place behind the plate and started all 3 games of this series. He is not going on the IL, and I imagine he probably won't be. But going back to Kyle Tucker a bit, Kyle Tucker's shin was more serious than they had first thought, and he did need crutches to get around for most of the week. However, as of when I'm recording this video, he does not need those anymore. But as of when I'm recording this video, I do not think he has resumed baseball activities as of yet. But word is that he should be able to come off the injured list for the series opener for the Astros against the Detroit Tigers, which is the soonest that he can come off the injured list. But yeah, unfortunately, Joey Loperfido, who was taking the place of Kyle Tucker on the roster, had to get sent back down to bring up Cesar Salazar, the Astros' other catcher, which they've had in AAA for a while, so that he could be with the team just in case, worst case scenario, that Diaz had to go on the injured list. But yeah, going into the first game of this series, we're gonna go ahead and jump straight ahead to the 9th inning. The Astros had runners on 2nd and 3rd, so the winning run, or potential winning run rather, 90 feet away for who else? Jose Abreu. Yeah, I thought you guys probably thought I was going to say Yordan Alvarez, right? Yeah, me too. Certainly wish he would have been the guy to hit in this situation, but unfortunately, it was Jose Abreu. Now, people were all pissed off on Twitter saying that that Joe Espada probably should have pinch hit Jose Abreu, but and unfortunately he did not. I kind of thought that maybe he should have been pinch hit for, but at the same time, Jose Abreu has had these moments in his career. Yes, he's not really in his prime anymore. Yes, he's fairly old and not really the best hitter. He's hitting, I think, maybe 170 something, 190 something since his return from West Palm Beach, which is not good at all. He's not even batting 200 in that time, since then, which, that's something I certainly would wish I would like to be able to get this month. But he came on with the winning run for the Astros 90 feet away, and unfortunately he would strike out, and that was what the score would be going into Manfred innings, with Joey Loperfido as the Manfred runner Trey Cabbage had hit a bunt single that he was able to successfully, after a challenge from Joe Espada, beat out to first base to put runners on the corners for Victor Caratini, who has actually proved to be our good luck charm anytime any of our games have gone to Manfred innings this season, which is kind of neat. But he was able to get the job done by hitting a sacrifice fly to score Joey Lopefito from third base to make it 2-1 Astros. Alex Bregman would then add on to that with an RBI single to make it 3-1 Astros going into the bottom of the 10th inning. However, Montero, who was pitching his third straight game in as many days, would have a complete meltdown and allow the Giants to score 3 runs in the bottom of the 10th inning to give the Astros a rather more gut-punching loss. Their second in as many days, because they had suffered a very similar one in Anaheim, like probably 36-ish hours ago. They had a day game the day before, so. And for what it was worth, Spencer Arrighetti, he pitched amazing in this game. He went 5 2/3 innings, only allowed 1 run on 4 hits with 6 strikeouts, but the offense just couldn't get anything done in this game. The 9th inning, I think, was when the Astros had really lost this game. I mean, I don't know if it's just Jose Abreu just straight up sucks. I don't know if it's because Joe Espada didn't pinch hit for him. I don't know what it is, but we should have won this game, and we didn't. Luckily, though, Game 2 of this series was a much better result, with Ronel Blanco going 6 innings, allowing just the 1 run on a homer, and also got 8 strikeouts on the mix. Granted, a lot of these strikeouts were aided/helped by with a very atrocious strike zone on this game, so I mean, I do feel bad for some Giants players out there. But diving into the game itself here, we're going to jump straight to the 3rd inning here with Mauricio Dubon, the former Giant, leading off the inning with a ground rule double that the Giants left fielder certainly thought was going to go foul. Otherwise, he certainly would have made a play on it. But yeah, unbeknownst to him, it stayed in fair territory and bounced over the wall into the stands for a ground rule double. And then the Astros would end up using all of their outs they had to work with in that inning to end up scoring Dubon from second. Caratini would ground out to the right-hand side of the infield to advance Dubon to third base. And then Jose Altuve would end up getting the RBI in this scenario. But the way that he ended up getting this RBI was just mind-boggling, because he ended up reaching out for a pitch that was a full 2 feet off the plate, which is the furthest that he has been able to reach out and hit a pitch and put it in play ever since pitch tracking was really had become a thing in 2008. But yeah, he reached out and hit a pitch that was 2 feet off the plate and somehow managed to put it in play. Now, I mean, I've personally been griping on Altuve. I mean, obviously, I love him. He has been the face of the Astros for the past decade plus at this point. But like, I've been griped at him a lot for reaching a good 2 feet out in the other batter's box, for swinging at pitches that he really should not be swinging at. Because, I mean, quite frankly, I think he's the only hitter that seems like that keeps falling for those pitches time and time again. But for some reason, I mean, he did kind of fall for this pitch, but this time he was actually able to put it in play. And for what it was worth, the infield was drawn in, and Dubon was able to score on that. So Astros had a 1-0 lead, but unfortunately that lead would be short-lived, as Brett Wisely for the Giants ended up hitting a home run into Levy's Landing to tie the score at 1. Luckily, though, that was the only run that Ronel Blanco would allow. That was one of 3 hits the Giants would get off of the Astros pitching staff on this evening. And now, as we go into the 5th inning, the Astros had a good chance here to score, had another good chance to score, as Caratini had stepped up to the plate with 2 runners on, no outs. However, both he and Altuve would end up striking out. And then Bregman, who was the last hope for the Astros this inning. So the Astros had a good chance to score in this inning. However, with Alex Bregman, and they did end up scoring this inning, but it ended up coming courtesy of an errant throw by third baseman Matt Chapman. With 2 outs, Trey Cabbage and Dubon were off with contact, and they ended up both scoring with 2 outs, and that would end up being the difference maker in this game, despite the fact that the Astros did have an opportunity to plate another run in that inning, but they would end up not being able to do so. But as we continue on in this game, Ronel Blanco would end up continuing his tear. He has been the most consistent starter this entire season for the Astros, and this was more proof of that, because he only ended up allowing 3 hits in this game, one of which came on that home run that I was just talking about earlier. But then the Astros bullpen would go on to no-hit the Giants the rest of the way, including Ryan Pressly, who was able to get his 2nd save in as many chances, just like old times. And this is what I want y'all's opinion on. Does Ryan Pressly pitch the 9th inning? Personally, I don't think he should be, because, I mean, I don't want us paying several $1 million to Josh Hader just for him to be a setup man. But there was just this weird curse going on with Ryan Presley. Maybe he's still adjusting to being a setup man or something like that. I don't know what's going on with him because he was able to get this save in this game rather handily. But what I personally think the Astros should be doing is that they should be having Abreu in the 7th, Montero in the 8th, if he's available, of course, and then Josh Hader in the 9th inning. And then use Ryan Presley on any nights, say on maybe some night when Josh Hader isn't available. I think that should be what our three-headed monster should be doing, because it just seems that Presley is just like the weakest link out of our bullpen there. But, you know, again, at the same time, like even going back to the Anaheim series, there's a lot of good arms that Joe Espada could have used instead of using Presley that inning. We would have gone out of Anaheim with a sweep, like easily. But, you know, again, I'm not going to talk about the same series in two different videos here. So let's go into the final game here. So, yeah. So the Giants ended up rocking for Framber Valdez rather easily here. Their first threat came in the 2nd inning with 2 runners on and only 1 out. But Thairo Estrada for the Giants would end up grounding to a double play to extinguish that threat right away. But then in the bottom of the 3rd inning was when the Giants would draw first blood against Framber Valdez as Matt Chapman would plate home 2 on a 2-run double. Going into the 4th inning, the Astros would chip into that lead just a little bit with an RBI single by Jeremy Pena, but that was unfortunately all the Astros would score in that inning. But not all that the Astros would score in this game, because Jordan Alvarez in the 6th inning would hit a 2-run blast to cut a 4-run deficit in half. But unfortunately, that's all the Astros. That is as close as the Astros would get in this game as they drop Wednesday's game by a final score of 5-3. The bullpen in this series was perfect. Jordan obviously was great. Others, not so much. Personally, dude, I think this team just really sucks this year. And I mean, I feel like as fans, like they're expecting, like we probably should be accepting that reality, and maybe maybe we should just look at next year. But I don't think so yet, because I mean, we still have a lot of baseball left to play this month. This is a very, very easy schedule. In fact, according to, I mean, I might have to go look and see what this website is, but the Astros actually have one of the 10 easiest remaining strengths of schedule remaining in the season. I mean, primarily I think it's because they did play a lot of teams with, you know, World Series hopefuls to start the season. They played the Yankees, they played the Braves, they played the Rangers for 7 games. They even played the Royals, who, I mean, nobody expected the Royals to be as good as they are right now. They even played Cleveland during that stretch. I mean, the Astros had a tough schedule to start the season, and it's going to get easy from this month. Personally, the one series that really worries me this month is the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, if we were to lose that series this month, I would be okay with that, because of course Baltimore is expected to be one of the better teams this year. But I was hoping that would be the only series we'd lose this month, and unfortunately, I mean, it won't. Hopefully this series against the Giants will be the one series we lose this month, but something's telling me it won't be, because I mean, we just need to get it together. Our one inconsistency is the bullpen. And I mean, unless we make changes to that, or really unless we make changes to the roster at this year's trade deadline, our streak of reaching the ALCS is likely in jeopardy. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you got. Let me know your thoughts on this series. Should it have gone better? Should the Astros really have gone 6-0 on this West Coast road trip? I mean, I kind of wish they would have, but I mean, they didn't. So, I mean, they just really didn't have much of an answer for Logan Webb, aside from Jordan, of course. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Want to watch any of my other videos? Click these 2 cards that are above my shoulders here. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.